for a career pathways program serving at-risk teens, and we are thrilled that he can be here with us to celebrate this and all we have done for the last decade for Los Angeles children. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Please.
You know who you are. Good to see you. Oh, no. Thank you, Lou and Monica. No, thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. And let me begin the evening with a thank you to our servers. I grew up in a household where we had to serve ourselves. And whenever someone serves me, I like to say thank you. Thank you for bringing the food to our table today and all the servers here today. Lou and Monica, thank you for that overly generous introduction. Let me say, to begin with, thank you for allowing me to enjoy and share this evening with all of you. You know, I was mentioning that we live in a town, a great town, a city of angels, a city of America's hopes and dreams. A city like no other. I say many times that this city is the most diverse anywhere in the United States, maybe the world. It is a city where we come from 140 countries, speak 200 languages. A city where we have 37 nationalities that have the largest population here. 46% of the city is foreign-born. It's a city where people don't care who your father is. And you know, from time to time, when there's conflict in the city, I hear a lot about, well, gee, LA's so racially polarized, where this is the most segregated, I've heard many times before, the most segregated city in the United States of America. This city is a city that doesn't talk to one another. And you know, I'll tell you something, I take umbrage with those people, and I challenge them. Because I say, you know, I was born and raised here. My mother was born and raised here. My grandpa got here 100 years ago. And for my grandpa, for my mother, and for me, and for so many of us, whether we came from Mexico or Russia or Poland or Italy or Africa or Asia, this is a country and a city where you get to remake yourself and live out your dreams. And this is a city of better angels. And so when I was asked to participate in tonight's event, an event of committed better angels, I said, yeah, I want to be a part of tonight. I want to be a part of tonight because it's organizations like this. It's the women who have come together to form this organization. We've impacted more than 350,000 people in need, who reaffirm to me and to every one of us here tonight and to everyone in this town that this is a town of better angels. This is a city that reaches out. You know, yes, it's true, we live in different parts of the city, and if you looked at a demographic microscope, it's still not as diverse in every part as we would all like. But I'll tell you, I know a lot of people from this side of town, and I know when I'm speaking of the city, I'm not actually in the city of Los Angeles. But you know, when I was climbing the Great Wall of China, and I ran all the way up, and I got stopped halfway through by this woman. She says, "I voted for you, I voted for you." I said, "Oh yeah, where do you live?" Escondido. I guess it's the media market or something, but so, you know, Santa Monica will do. And it's great to be here. But, you know, there are people on this side of town. There are people in the valley, people from every part of this town that are giving back. And we need to celebrate that. We need to acknowledge that. You know, in every religion, there's this notion that you have to give back. The Jews have the notion of tikkun olam and doing mitzvah and tzedakah, and you know, Catholics and Christians have a notion of of social justice and this recognition that we have a responsibility to build community and give back. And every religion, Muslims, you know, the Buddhists, everybody has this value in their body of faith that talks about the need to build community and to give back and to honor humankind. And that's really what you're doing tonight. And so I want to thank all of the people who are here to honor these better angels who have left an indelible mark on our city, on this region. When you think about 10 short years ago, a couple of women got together and said, let's put $5,000 in the kitty and call a few other people and add to that and build on that. And over the years, now almost $10 million in grants, helping out 350,000 people in need, focused on programs that you could take to scale in a year, that you can replicate best practices, best models, people that have, you know, just understand that we've got to make a difference. And whether it was a mobile dental clinic serving the poorest children in the city. And you know, I talk a lot about my mom. You've heard me say, and although we were poor, we weren't dirt poor, and we did have health care from time to time, but we didn't have dental care. And so I didn't get my teeth worked on much until I was an adult, and they weren't doing too well by then. And you know, one of the biggest reasons why kids miss school today, dental problems, because they have healthy families. And I do want to correct, it's now about 950,000 kids who are on the Healthy Families program, and I'm very proud of that. And now with the health care plan that has just passed, a lot more kids are going to have health care, and that's a good thing in the richest nation in the history of the world, and in one that spends more. The doctors here who know we spend more per capita in absolute numbers on health care than any country in the world, and if we had 46 million people without health care. And so we need a dental clinic like that that goes from one community to another. And the expansion of a home for troubled boys exiting the probation system. And I know that you've helped out a number of providers who are here in the room today, and I took a picture with just a couple of them. And so from those modest beginnings, these women, led by Jacqueline Castor, who's here. Let's give her a big hand. And you want to talk about a small world. I've put together over the last 4 years, you wouldn't know it, with the problems that we face, but we've put together the most far-reaching effort to really get neighborhood participation in our budget. So in the first year, we had you know, a couple of hundred people, and then it was more than 1,000, and then it was a couple of thousand, and now as I understand it, 3,000 people or so, 4,000 people have participated in putting the city budget together. Maybe that's the problem with the city budget, but no, just kidding. All the neighborhood leaders who are here with us today, it's all on me. And I met a young man. We put a youth component to it. And I met a young man, Jackie's son, who proceeded to make a presentation that not a one of the adults there were as sophisticated as he was. And this is a young man who lives in a more affluent part of town, who focused on, let's keep the pools open for the kids who don't have a pool. Let's keep the parks open. Let's keep the Summer Night Lights program going. And so I want to acknowledge the family, the Castor family, because young man who went to Princeton, I'm sorry, I was about to say went to Princeton. My son's at Princeton, who went to Brentwood, and his, you know, just a family that understands that we all have a responsibility to one another. And Jackie started the Every Child Foundation in 2000 with, as I understand it, 56 members. And I met one of them, and she shook my hand, and she said, I was number 2. I'm her next door neighbor. And I love that, because that's how you do it. You know, you go to your neighbor, you go to the shul, you go to your church, you go to the boys, you know, wherever your little group is, and you say, hey, I got an idea. I'm willing to put a few dollars in it. Will you join me? And 10 years later, they've given out about $8 million, as I said, directly served over 350,000 children. And tonight, a $1 million grant awarded to an organization working with 900 low-income, at-risk youth in the South Bay. Now, I got to meet that young woman. Well, I got to meet you. You're both young women. I got to meet you. And I said, well, I noticed that you're helping Wilmington and Watts. I want to make sure we're going to address the need in South LA. But I can tell you, they understand, like another angel in this city who many of you have supported over the years. Father Greg Boyle likes to say that nothing stops a bullet like a job. And this is an organization committed to working with young people. May have had some bumps on the road, maybe don't have all the skills that they need. I'm going to help them get those skills. It's ready to fall down. Help them get those skills, connect them with pathways, career pathways. After a period of time, move them into living wage, good jobs that they can take care of their family on. And the hope is that they're going to be able to replicate this and make it bigger and have more people engage in these practices. So I wanted to be here to acknowledge this organization, to acknowledge the women who had the foresight and the fortitude, the perseverance, the persistence to stick to the guns, if you will, to stay at it. A lot of guys here, and they're here because those first 56 women said, I expect you here. You better be here if you want to support me as I've supported you. And that's really what it's all about. So on behalf of our city, a city that's benefited greatly by this organization, by the way, and I'd like to acknowledge a young woman, a city leader, my friend, City Controller Wendy Gruhl, who's here tonight. Thank God for grown-ups, because Wendy Gruhl has had to, had to call them like she sees them. You know, when you're the controller, you gotta protect taxpayer dollars, the services that we provide, and she's been a great ally and a great friend. I want to acknowledge her and her support.